Here they are, the long-anticipated AMD Ryzen accelerated processing units, codenamed Raven Ridge, are finally out. Now this video is a little late because this is my first video and I underestimated how much time it took to benchmark and record. As of this video, and to my knowledge, the newly released APUs are available on Amazon, Fry's, Newegg, and Micro Center. If you're planning on going to a brick and mortar store to buy one, specifically Micro Center, look out for those open box deals. Who knows, you may find something worth your while. Micro Center may also have a $30 combo discount that will apply if you ask about it. If you've been following other tech channels or reading news about AMD, you've probably known about APUs for quite a while now. This isn't really anything revolutionary, but with these current gen APUs from AMD, there's a lot of value to be had because they offer both good CPU performance and good entry-level graphics capabilities, the latter being really important because of how expensive graphics cards have become due to rises in demand from cryptocurrency. For those who don't know what an APU is, basically it's the name given to a chip with a CPU and GPU on the same die. I'm pretty sure AMD coined this term sometime around 2011, along with the launch of their first desktop and laptop APUs, codenamed Llano, which AMD advertised of having discrete level graphics. Their claim wasn't too far off, and at its best, the iGPU and the flagship A8 3870K could keep up with AMD's Radeon 6670 release at around the same time, which was a entry-level, dedicated graphics card, which was alright. What really held AMD's early APUs back though was their poor CPU performance compared to the competition. Alright, that was 7 years ago, and now today, we have AMD's newest Raven Ridge APUs on hand that show how far AMD has really come. Here we have the Ryzen 3 2200G and the Ryzen 5 2400G. Both have a Zen-based CPU along with Vega GPU cores on a single die. The Ryzen 3 2200G offers 4 cores without simultaneous multi-threading and Vega 8 graphics, while the Ryzen 5 2400G offers 4 cores with SMT and Vega 11 graphics. CPU performance should be similar to the Ryzen 3 1200 and Ryzen 5 1400 because the new APUs are still using the same Zen CPU architecture. However, do note that these APUs only have half the amount of L3 cache compared to the Ryzen 3 1200 and the Ryzen 5 1400. But to make up for the lower amount of cache, they are clocked higher out of the box. Another difference is that thermal compound is being used in between the die and the IHS, instead of it being soldered on like they did with the standalone Ryzen CPUs. These changes were probably made because, they wanted to cut down on manufacturing costs, and the use of thermal compound will probably affect temperatures depending on the quality and type of thermal compound used. However, it's not that big of a deal because these chips are relatively low power. As for the Vega iGPUs, the 8 and the 11 stand for the amount of compute units there are. The Vega 8 iGPU is clocked slightly slower at 1100 MHz compared to the Vega 11's 1240 MHz, so with these numbers we can expect about a 30% performance delta on paper between these GPUs out of the box. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's see the real performance difference between these two APUs with some games. The test system specs are in the description if you'd like to reference them. I just want to take a second to say that these recordings were taken from a system with the Ryzen 5 2400G, so frame rates in the video are slightly lower than the benchmark numbers because the benchmark numbers were taken without recording. In Overwatch at 1080p with the low setting preset at 75% render scale, the Ryzen 3 2200G was able to achieve an average of 80 FPS, while the Ryzen 5 2400G achieved an average of 83 FPS. Both APUs offer a very playable experience, while the 2200G brings the most value to the table because it provides performance very similar to that of the 2400G in this particular title. Moving on to one of the most popular titles of the day, we have Fortnite Battle Royale. These benchmarks were taken in Tilted Towers, which is a more demanding spot on the map because of the amount of people that land here at the start. At 1080p with the medium setting preset, which sets the internal resolution to 720p, the 2200G was able to achieve an average of 54 FPS, while the 2400G achieved an average of 78 FPS. Both APUs are able to achieve smooth playable frame rates in this game as well. The 30% performance delta between the APUs is true for this game at least. Next up we have GTA 5. At 1080p with the settings set to normal and anti-aliasing off, the 2200G averaged at 49 FPS while driving around the city, while the 2400G averaged at 60 FPS. The game was very playable on both APUs and looked great. Driving around fast didn't introduce much stuttering if at all, which is also great. Next we have The Witcher 3, which is a more demanding game. At 1080p low settings, the 2200G averaged at 29 FPS, while the 2400G averaged at 32 FPS. Not the best results, but definitely playable considering these benchmarks were taken in the highly populated city of Novigrad. You should be able to maintain over 30 FPS throughout the game, especially if you overclock or turn down some settings. The last game tested is Warframe. I tested this game to see what the VRAM usage would be like in the Plains of Eidolon, which is an open world map part of the game. Because the GPU in these APUs don't have any dedicated video memory, it uses shared system memory, or RAM, as its VRAM. You think allocating the maximum amount of VRAM for the iGPU would be the right thing to do, but in reality, it just limits the amount of RAM you can use for everything else. When GPUs run out of dedicated VRAM, they turn to system memory, but because these iGPUs already use system memory, they'll just use more of it when they need to. At 1080p with a medium setting preset, the 2200G achieved an average of 33 FPS, while the 2400G achieved 48 FPS. Both APUs offer complete playability in this game, especially if you turn down the settings. So just with these gaming benchmarks alone, I'm going to say that AMD's Raven Ridge APUs are a big success. Combining both a Zen CPU and a Vega GPU together brings unparalleled value to the current market, and things will only get better from now on. That's it for this video. Leave a like if you liked it and comment if you have any thoughts or unanswered questions. If you like this sort of content, be sure to subscribe for future videos. Bye.